Hello guys and welcome to my waterfall painting tutorial. Today I will be showing you how to create a realistic and beautiful waterfall using poster paints and wax crayons. This tutorial is perfect for beginners as I will be taking you through a step-by-step process of painting a waterfall from start to finish. So let's get started. I love to paint waterfalls because they are such beautiful and powerful natural phenomena. The way the water cascades over the rocks is mesmerizing to me, and I find it incredibly rewarding to try to capture that movement and energy on the canvas. I also enjoy the challenge of painting the different colors and textures of the water, rocks, and the surrounding vegetation. Overall, painting waterfalls brings me a sense of joy and satisfaction that I cannot express through any other medium. And to capture this natural beauty on my canvas, I am going to unbox something new and take help from it like I always do. Camlin and Camel have come out with a new look and they are beautiful. As you may know, Camlin is all things stationery and Camel is all things art. As a child, I remember being mesmerized by the vibrant colors of Camlin's pens and pencils. I would spend hours drawing and coloring with them. The nostalgic feeling I get when I use Camlin's products reminds me of the joy and creativity of my childhood, and it brings me a sense of warmth and comfort. The colors and patterns of these new designs are also eye-catchy and vibrant, adding a touch of fun and creativity to the new stationery. I am now going to present a new art, new soul. I am now unboxing Camel's poster paints and jumbo wax crayons. The colors and patterns of these new designs are very eye-catchy and vibrant. The paints also have a better coverage and color vibrancy. Now without further delay, let's get started. Here are the materials required: a 300 GSM watercolor sketch pad, poster paints, jumbo wax crayons, pencils, permanent markers, paintbrushes, masking tape, jar, and a color palette. We will start with a basic sketch depicting the rocks and the vegetation around them. You can pause the video and take a screenshot of the sketch. Now let's start painting our sketch using poster paints. I'll be using every single color available except orange and red because I don't really feel the need of these two colors in the artwork. For the background, we'll be using poster green, light green, black and white. We'll be making multiple shades as seen in the color palette for the background. To show the sunlight from the center, I've started with white in the center. Then I've started with darker and a lighter shade simultaneously by mixing poster green, black and white. To blend these shades together, the one tip that you need to keep in mind is not to use too much of water or too little of water in your paintbrush. Your paintbrush should be very damp, wherein you can easily merge all these colors on the paper easily without making any changes in the color shades. To show a depth in the surrounding vegetation around the rocks, I have mixed black with the darker green and I have blended that with the background I have done at the top. Now I am adding white again in the center to use it to depict the sun rays later on. Now to make the trees on the top, make sure that you mix three shades. One is the lighter shade, another one is a mid-tone and the third one is a darker tone. Because in a forest when we walk, we see the trees that are very far away appear to be lighter, and then the trees that are in the middle appear to be a little less darker, and the trees that are in front of us appear to be very dark. Using this principle can help you create a depth in your artwork. Now create a mid-tone and make some branches in random spaces. Now use a round brush to make the leaves around the forest trees and bushes. Make sure to just dab at random spaces and don't make a cluster of same color together. I will be using darker green, light green, white and black, and I will be adding a little bit of yellow as well later on to make the brighter leaves. Now to get the grass texture, I am using a fan brush. You can also use a flat brush which has dry bristles to create the same effect. Now we need to make some stones before we make some more vegetation around the rocks. So for making the stones, I am using dark green and black mixture to create the stones around the vegetation. Now to add a grassy texture on the rock, we'll start by using darker green on the base layer, lighter green for the second layer, and finally we'll mix yellow with light green to get a brighter effect. Now to make tiny white flowers, we'll mix white and yellow together and we'll make tiny dots around the rock. Now remember the white color we applied in the center? It's time for us to take a wet brush and make some sun rays falling around the forest. Add a little more bushes around the rocks and it's time for us to use dark brown, yellow ochre and dark blue for painting the rocks around the vegetation. Now we'll be making base tones for the rocks. For the same, I am mixing dark blue, white, black and dark brown. I am mixing different quantities of each color to make the base shade so that each rock has a distinct shade, and then we can easily add texture on top of them. Now the trick to add texture on the rock is to create a mid-tone, light tone and a highlight.
You have to start by mixing 3 tones for each color that you applied on the base, a darker value, a mid-tone and a lighter value. You have to start by applying the mid-tones and the highlights and the shadows together, and then use a little bit of water in your paintbrush to merge them all together. Here is how it would look like. You have to repeat the same procedure for each rock. Just keep in mind of the base color that you did on the rock. Suppose this rock had dark blue and white as a base, so I am only using blues and whites to give texture. You can also add white for the highlights, but make sure to blend it with the base layers with water. Now repeat the same process of giving texture to all the rocks that we have created as shown in the tutorial. Now we will add some brighter color bushes by mixing yellow and white in the background. Now I am adding a little more vegetation to the places where I feel I could use some more greens to balance the entire composition. While painting vegetation, remember, always use a lighter tone, darker tone and a mid-tone to give the adequate depth required for the bushes. Now fill the remaining areas which we left white with a base tone. It can be any random shade that you feel that is available on your palette. Make sure that the base tone that you are using should be darker, so that if we add texture on top of it with lighter shades, it can be clearly visible. Now it's time to add my favorite part, that is the water of the waterfall. For the base layer of the water, I am using a greyish tone wherein I have mixed a little bit of black and white, and I am starting to apply white highlights on top of them. And then I will be blending both the shades together with a little bit of water to make sure that the water blends in with the rocks and it looks more natural. You can also splash some white paint around to give it a more fresh look, and go over again with a wet paintbrush and merge the white paint with the background. Now for one finishing touch for water, add the white strokes again wherever you deem fit to and make the direction of the water clear. Now I am using Camel's Jumbo Wax crayons to add additional highlights to make the background pop and the highlight pop as well. I am using yellow for the vegetation, orange and brown for the rocks to give them a bit more earthy and natural effect. And here is the finished outcome. So yes, painting waterfalls allows me to explore the interplay of light and shadow, the fluidity of water and the richness of the natural world. I find great joy and satisfaction in bringing the beauty of waterfalls to life through my art. Also, painting these waterfalls using these supplies with a new look gave me a fresh perspective to my thoughts. If you want to buy any of these products from Camlin and Camel, visit their website. And if you like this tutorial, don't forget to like, share and subscribe to my channel for more exciting tutorials.